And I called Chase because I noticed that they did something kind of sneaky. I'm one of the rare guys, old school, that picks up the phone and calls. I don't want to chat because there's always a delay. I want to call you. I'm going to get your name. I mean, they didn't want to give any information. Now, here's the behind the scenes stuff that people, this is when you gotta, when you're really in the woods of it, right?
Yeah.
Chase had also increased.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Calvin Russell here. Listen, I am here to bring you all yet another guest speaker. Okay. So, for those who don't know, I am a certified FICO professional and, of course, the CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit. But listen, today is not about me. Today is all about our guest, as he's going to be talking about some major changes that are happening with all the banks that you guys like to talk about. Okay. We're talking about Chase Bank, we're talking about American Express. Those are the ones we're going to be focused on today. Okay. But listen, you most definitely want to go ahead and get your notepads out. He doesn't have a lot of time. Get ready to go ahead and learn some information from Mr. Joe Barreto. Joe, are you here today, sir?
Hola, how you doing, Calvin? Thank you for having me on again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, you're always on top of these major changes that happen with these credit card companies. There's stuff that happens all the time. And there may be some people that already have accounts with these banks, but there are some things that they need to know, especially when there's changes that may affect people. Okay. So, again, first off, I want to say thank you for taking out your time and just kind of carving us in today, man. We greatly appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
All right. All right. Let's go and get into the first thing I want to talk about today. And that is why, well, first off, what American Express doesn't want you to know about credit card applications. You talked about something that just happened with them. So, what don't they want us to know about their application process?
Amex has a rule, technically, where you can only have 5 credit cards with them, not
Mm.
charge cards. So, not the gold, the green, or the platinum. That doesn't count. So, if you have a hotel co-branded card like the Marriott Brilliant, or if you have the Marriott Bonvoy business card, things of that nature, Hilton, those are credit cards, right? So those accrue, you can carry over balances. They tell you 5. So for the last 6 months, I've had a problem where every time I try to apply, they keep telling me you can't because you're over the number of cards. And I said, impossible. I
Mm.
only have 4 credit cards. Finally, after literally going back and forth to different supervisors, and I'm telling them, look, I've been with you guys since 1989. You weren't born yet, Calvin. And
I was one. I
you
was
were
one.
one. Okay, my bad. I said, this is ridiculous. Like, what's going on? So I got a little irked because I had one
Mm.
person tell me, well, the supervisor's only going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't care. I want to speak to supervisor.
Mm.
Finally, they said, well, you have an account ending in 1007. And I said,
Mm.
no, I don't. They go, yeah, you do. You have a $2,500 balance. And I
Mm.
said, yeah, but that's not a credit card. That's a personal loan I took out. I
Right.
said, I got 4 or 5 payments left.
Mm.
So they go, well, that counts. I said, where in your literature, where can you show me that that counts?
Absolutely.
And they really
Wow.
couldn't. They said, well, we word it as any kind of credit that we give you or a line of credit. I said, yeah, you've always said, and if you play back the recordings that you guys record, say
Yeah.
5 credit cards, charge cards don't count. So why
Mm.
would I think that a personal loan will count? I said, let me ask you this. If I had a business loan, now normally business loans do not report to the personal side.
Yeah.
They go, that counts too.
Mm.
I said, you got to be kidding me. And you know what else counts? One of their Charles Schwab's accounts, like their
Really?
yeah,
Okay. The investment account.
the
Okay.
investment account. So I said, wait a minute, like, how does this work? How are you guys telling me this after all this time?
Yeah.
And what was killing me was, in order for me to get a different card, and I get different cards
Yeah.
so that I could bring it to the channel. I don't like going on Google and Reddit
Yeah.
and
Just reading.
regurgitating stuff to the people. I hate
Yeah.
that.
Real quick, be sure to download our free ebook today. All you got to do is scan this QR code right here or click the link in the description below. Now back to the video. Yeah.
So I want to use the card, see if it works, see if it doesn't work, whatever. And I couldn't do it. So in order for me to keep getting different cards, I had to
Mhm.
cancel one or product change. And for people that don't know, product changes, you could do changes within the same card family. So you could do Hilton Honors, Hilton Surpass, Hilton Aspire, either going up or backwards if you decide to downgrade, right?
Yeah.
So it's upgrade, downgrade. But, canceling, I had to cancel one. I had to cancel the Marriott Bonvoy business to make room for the Delta business because I'm going to be flying Delta more because Newark is a disaster here in Jersey.
Oh man,
And
I forgot you. Yeah, that's crazy.
and
Yeah.
United is the hub that I use all the time. I just
Right.
opened up a United Club card and I got
Mm.
and I got banged over the head for $695 and
Annual fees.
$650. And I was like, wait a minute, now I got to
Yeah.
get a Delta card to fly out of LaGuardia and
Yeah.
JFK.
Wow.
So I want you people to know that if they've applied for a card and they're getting denied, this might be one of the reasons why their application is not going through.
Wow.
And you could tell it's not pop-up jail. For people that are familiar,
Yeah.
pop-up jail on Amex is you're not going to get the sign-up bonus because you maybe already had the card in the past,
Yeah.
and they only allow you once in a lifetime according to them, which is not true, but that's the rule. But it's not pop-up jail. This is you get an instant, decision to your email, and when you log in the app, it says, you were denied to call them back.
I didn't know that at all. And I'm sure many of the viewers didn't know anything about that, especially with them counting that investment account from Charles Schwab. That doesn't make any sense at all. And like you mentioned, I haven't heard about that in fine print or any announcements or anything like that. But I'm also thinking too, it could just be because of where the economy is right now and how a lot of banks are just coming up with just reasons on reducing the amount of accounts that people have or reducing credit limits. I mean, because things are kind of staggering right now, So, but I'm glad you got us that information, as well. And I did have another question for you as well, too. And you talked about, okay, outside of that, there's a lot of people that still want to, go with American Express. I don't know if it's just the prestige, if it's how the card looks, if it's, of course, some of the best benefits. Because even with my wife and I, we're saying like, man, this is a pretty good American Express card as it pertains to travel and things of that sort. And so, how does a person know which American Express card is going to be best for them? How does a person like make that choice? What's your advice on that?
That is a great question. So Amex is known more for the prestige of their charge cards, right? That's where the green card back in the day in the 70s, the commercials, because the green card was made to look like money, right? So
Yeah.
that was their card.
If you're looking to get funding for your business with no minimum credit score required, this includes term loans, equipment finance, and even fix and flip loans as well. To learn more, scan this QR code or click the link in the description below. Now back to the video.
Then in the 80s, they rolled out the gold and the platinum cards. And with that came elevated pricing, annual fees for it, because you got a little bit more prestige and some perks here and there.
Yeah.
So for me, when people tell me, well, Amex has cashback cards, and they do, they have their Blue Cash Everyday cards, which are
Yeah.
solid cards, solid multipliers.
Yeah.
But that's not the cards people really want to go for when they want to come into the Amex ecosystem. They want membership
Mm,
rewards points
they
that
do.
are going to get you, the free travel, the this, the
Yep.
that.
Yep.
So what I tell people is this: look, if you fly once a year and you're the type that likes to cut it close and get to your flight running through the airport like Sledge, right?
Yeah.
There's no need for you to pay $695 for a platinum card that gives you lounge access,
Yeah.
because really that's the main perk. Their lounge access is the biggest in the game. So that's their perk. But, for me, what I would tell them is this: look, if you live in a major city and you do transit, you take the train, the bus, you Uber places, you take a ferry like in New York, whatever the case is,
Yeah.
the green card is the most solid card in Amex's lineup for charge cards.
Mm,
The reason being, you get 3 times on transit, all transit. So even your tolls here, and so I live in Jersey and I go
wow.
to New York a
Okay.
lot. So the tolls you're going to get 3 times. Every time I cross the George Washington Bridge, it's
Yeah.
$18, right?
Wow.
Times 3.
I was about to say, is that one really? Wow.
So you're going to get the most bang for your buck if you're using it. It's really their true
Yeah.
travel card,
Mm,
because the gold card, which is the one that's now at 325
Yeah.
is now known as their Foodie card. And Foodie,
Mm.
because if you spend a lot on dining out and you spend a lot in supermarket spend, you
Yeah.
get 4 times per dollar spent,
Mm.
which can total up and be huge, right?
Yeah.
But you look at it, the green card will give you 3 times on dining out. So,
Gotcha.
one point, is it going to make or break me? You could always get a different supermarket card. You
Right.
know, you could always get a cashback card, a different card like PayPal giving you 5% back
Yeah.
on a category of choice. And that can be your cashback card right out of your debit, and you
Yeah.
don't get a credit pull for it.
And it's a lot of cashback cards in general. Yeah.
You know, so for me, I would tell people it depends on your living. It depends on where you put your spend. It
Yeah.
depends on your lifestyle of travel, for instance, because I'm 58.
Yeah.
I don't want to sit, as bougie as it sounds, I don't want to sit at the gate where the guy's eating tuna fish next to me and the other one doesn't have socks and takes off his shoes. It drives me insane. I don't have the patience. I don't have the bandwidth anymore. So
Right.
I want lounge access. So I'm going to pay for lounge access, right? So I
I
got the
feel you.
platinum.
Yeah.
I got the platinum. You know,
And
go
yeah.
ahead.
And I'm glad you mentioned that as well too, because as we get, I won't say just older, as we start seeing more, right? Some of us just haven't stretched our minds to a certain point, but or we don't think about it until we get to the airport. But again, it's maximizing those perks, because if you have a layover, or if you got some time, or if you can skip the line, all these small things are going to make almost definitely going to play a role. But it's like Joe said, if you only travel like one time a year, that's not going to be worth it for that particular situation.
I'll be honest with you. Last
Yeah.
year, I was in Orlando at their Plaza Premium Lounge where JetBlue is.
Mm.
It is one of the nicest lounges outside of the American Express Centurion
Yeah.
network, right?
Wow.
I
Yeah.
get in there and I see there must have been some sort of expo in Orlando, and there was a
Yeah.
group from New Jersey there with their t-shirts, and
Mm.
they all work for the same company.
Yeah.
So the guy sees me come in and not pay anything. And he goes,
Yeah.
"How did you
Mm.
do that?" So I said, "I have my American Express business card."
Yeah.
And I said, I was able to get him free. I said, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, because you paid $60 a person just
Mm.
now
Yeah.
to get in, and there's 5 of you,
Mm.
that's $300
That's the
going
annual fee.
and coming.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I said, even if you add them as authorized business users and pay the 195 per card for the year,
Still.
for the platinum, for the regular platinum, for the business
Yeah.
card is 350. But
Yeah.
still, that one fee you can do. He goes, "Yeah, we travel at least twice a month." I said,
Wow.
"Bro, you're just burning money when you could
Yeah.
have this as a perk on your card." And it's not the only card that gives you that perk.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I used Amex as the example, but for a
Yeah.
priority pass lounge, it could be Venture X, Capital One, it could be Chase, Sapphire Reserve. There's
Yeah.
other cards that give you priority pass lounge access instead of Amex that you don't have to break the bank to do it. So
Right.
it's just something to think
Absolutely.
about.
Yeah. You know what? That's huge though, because even outside of just travel perks in general, it's making sure that you're not just wasting money overall. There's a lot of clients I'm seeing, they have credit cards they don't use often, like, or the credit cards that they don't use to fully maximize the perks and things of that sort. And it just becomes just an annual fee. It's really just a bill. And if you're not using those credit cards, and see, a lot of times people, especially people that watch my channel, they're transitioning from rebuilding their credit to getting into the high 600s, getting to the 700s. And now they're starting to have what I like to call those good credit problems, right? Where they
Yeah.
start getting Amex offers in the mail, Chase offers in the mail, Barclays, so on and so forth. And they're trying to figure out, okay, let me go ahead and get this type of card. They get it, they get approved, but then they're not maximizing it. And because of that, it feels just like a bill. What are some things that you do, Joe? Because now you have, obviously a list of credit cards. How are you managing all of this? And what are some things you're doing to try to maximize the perks? Easier said than done, right?
Yo, so I literally have.
Where's the wallet, Joe? You got the
So
wallet?
no, the wallet. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
have the wallet here
It's
because
all
I
good.
want
It's
to.
all
I
good.
want to. This is more of a punch in the face when you see this,
Yeah.
and your viewers will be able to appreciate this.
Yeah.
Apple Wallet.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah.
I have too many that I can't fit. There's a certain number you max out at.
Real see,
Really,
okay, see, look at
right?
that. You got so many cards, he's maxed out on Apple Wallet. They're like,
So
dude, you gotta
I have
swap one out.
28 credit cards right now active.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
how I keep on top of them, I use
Yeah.
two different apps,
Yeah.
one more than the other.
Mm.
There's one called Card Pointers
Yeah.
that's a lot less expensive than Max Rewards, but
Yeah.
it gives you every single card you have. You don't have to put your account number to it. It'll
Mm.
just, when you open up your browser and it notices the card, it attaches all the benefits and stuff to it, tells
Wow.
you when your due date is, things of that nature. Fantastic to use. Max Rewards does the same, except you have to put in your
Yeah.
information. And some
Yeah.
people don't like it, and sometimes it's glitchy, right?
Yeah. Mm.
But what I do is, let's say I have a card that has a $95 fee. Now, $95 to me in this credit card space
Yeah,
is
it's
one of
very
the lowest
small.
fees. It's nothing,
Yeah.
right?
That's close to zero. I mean, it may as well
Correct.
be zero at that point. Yeah.
And but here's the thing:
Yeah.
if you have a $95 card, but then that same issuer, let's use Chase as an example. The
Yeah.
Chase Sapphire Preferred is $95.
Mm.
But let's say you're like, you know what, I don't really use it that much. You could downgrade it, right? Or product change it to a
Yeah.
Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex
Mm.
for no annual fee. Still get the rewards out of it. And now you just saved yourself $95,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
So what I tell people is the following. You don't want to lose your credit history. You
That's right.
don't, especially if that card was one of your first, you
Yep.
don't want to lose that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you product change or downgrade, the credit history is still there
Yeah.
because you're just changing the type of card. You're not canceling it.
Right.
Canceling can be more of a headache also because if you cancel a card, let's say you have two cards,
Yeah.
a Chase Sapphire Preferred and an Amex Green. Now, an Amex Green is a charge card.
Yeah.
Your Preferred has a $10,000 credit line and you just canceled $10,000 credit line. Guess what, guys? Your utilization rate, if you had anything else out there, is going to show high because there's no other credit available to you because the charge card doesn't report the same. Because
Mm.
technically, if you open up Amex and you go, there's no limit.
Yeah.
Technically, there is a way to find out what your limit is with Amex,
Yeah.
but a charge card is just that. So they don't give you just a cap or
Yeah.
or right off the top. It adjusts to what you spend.
Yep.
So what I would tell people is, if you have multiple cards and you don't want to pay that annual fee, check and see if there's a downgrade option available because it saves them the credit history.
Yeah.
It saves them a headache from losing that credit availability to them, and it will maintain your FICO score high because your utilization is lower.
Mm. Wow. Yeah. Listen, hope you guys listen. This is why we bring Joe in here. I hope you guys are taking notes on all of this, especially if you're trying to decide between these types of credit cards before you make these decisions as well. All right. There was another situation too that I wanted to ask you about, Joe, because you talked about this the other day. And this was a new Chase credit card updates. Okay. And what people need to know about it right now. And what is going on with Chase Bank that you talked about the other day?
About 2 months ago, my Sapphire Preferred annual fee hit, and I
Mm.
called Chase because I noticed that they did something kind of sneaky. Normally, when you get their sign up bonus, it's $4,000 spent for 3 months, and it's usually $60,000 sign up bonus, right? 60,000
Yeah.
points. I'm sorry. Now they had an offer 100,000 points for $5,000 spent. And I said, wait a minute, something is not right. They haven't charged you 5,000 ever before, right? When
Yeah.
I got the card 2 years ago, I got 90,000 points for 4,000 spent. That was it. So
Yeah.
I called Chase. I'm one of the rare guys, old school, that picks up the phone and calls. I don't
Yeah.
want to chat because there's always a delay. I want to call you. I'm going to get your name. I'm
Yeah.
going to get your title, and I'm going to get my answer, right?
Yeah.
So I called him and I said, look, are there changes coming to the preferred? No, right now there's nothing in the works. I said, yeah, but I noticed this change, right?
Yeah.
So they were playing very coy with me. They didn't want to give any information.
Mm.
I said, okay, because I'm considering product changing to the reserve.
Mm.
She goes, well,
Yeah.
if you do it, we could prorate your fee and you could still get the benefits. I said, okay. So I didn't do it right then and there. A couple of
Yeah.
weeks ago, all over Reddit, all over like the Doctor of Credit,
Yeah.
Danny the Deal Guru, all these guys were
Yeah.
like, Chase Sapphire Reserve is going to go from $550 a year to $795.
Insane.
That's 100 more than the Amex Platinum,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the behind the scenes stuff that people, this is when you gotta, when you're really in the woods of it, right?
Yeah.
Chase had also increased their United Club card from 525 to 650, or to 695, I'm sorry, matching Amex before they announced the reserve going up. And I remember calling Chase again and saying,
Yeah.
there's no way that a United card is going to be the Halo card for Chase. It's
Wow.
not going to happen. They're not going to be $145 more than the reserve.
Yeah.
Sure enough, now everything hits. Chase is taking a page out of Amex's playbook, is going to coupon you to death with benefits.
Right.
But their benefits, I'm going to be honest with you, are
Yeah.
pretty solid. You're
Mm.
still going to get the easiest $300 in the game to use on a card. Anything that codes as travel, they're going to give it back to you right away.
Yeah.
So that's a good $300 chunk right off the bat.
Yep.
But they're also going to, increase their multipliers on different
Okay.
purchases you have. They're going to increase the number of benefits. They're going to give you different things that literally out of Amex's playbook. They're going to give
Oh,
you a
yeah.
dining credit. They're going to give
Wow.
you a rideshare credit. All these things that you would expect a premium card to do. The
Yeah.
thing is that it's rare that a card jumps
That high. That quick.
$245.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's a
Yeah.
lot. So
Yeah.
here's my thinking, and I tell everyone out there this:
Yeah.
it's not just going to be the reserve.
Yeah.
The reserve will be $795, and it's coming sooner rather than later because they already knocked the amount of sign-up bonus points for the preferred. So something else is coming down the pike.
Yeah.
The preferred, I predict, will go up to either 150 or 195,
Mm.
sort of mimicking the green card
Yeah.
that Amex has. Because right now, Chase doesn't have that middle bridge card.
They don't.
Amex has
Yeah.
three, right? The
Yep.
platinum, the gold, and the green. The
Yep. The
gold is
charge cards. Yep.
the middle one.
Yep.
Chase doesn't have that. It's either the reserve or the preferred.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're going to increase the amount of benefits you'll get with the preferred,
They
but
have
they're
to.
also going to increase the amount that you're going to pay a year. And
Yeah.
all to confirm that, and the woman had the funniest line ever. She's like, I was like, so I want to make sure, because I want a product change,
Yeah.
that I said, what happens if I do it now? She goes, oh, did you get the email about changes? And I said,
Come on.
no, no, but
Come on.
thanks for that.
Right.
Back of my head, I stored that one.
Yeah.
I said, no, I actually found it online like everybody else talking
Yeah.
about it online.
Yeah.
She goes, well, if I give you the card now, and this is what, if anybody wants to get the reserve, guys, I have a hack for you right now.
Mm.
If you already have the preferred, this is exactly what I did last week. I called. They gave me a prorated amount that I just paid for my Sapphire preferred.
Yeah.
And they gave me, so out of $95, they gave me $78 as a credit. They applied that to my Sapphire Reserve 550 because I'm still paying the old fee.
Right.
Right. I'm locked in there until my card renews next year.
Okay.
So, and if you pay yourself back with Chase using their ultimate rewards points, I'm only using 36,000 points, which is equivalent to $360.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, I'm getting the card at a bargain price right now, utilizing the current benefits. And when the new ones kick in, I get to use them
Right away.
And guess what, guys? If the card blows and I hate it,
Yeah.
next year I downgrade back to the preferred. No
Right.
harm,
Yeah.
no foul.
Yeah. And I'm glad I'm glad that you've been talking about just essentially being able to upgrade and downgrade, because there's a lot of people watching this and they may want to switch cards, right? Or they may want to get a card that has a lower annual fee or no annual fee, something like that. And a lot of times people just think, well, I'll just put a bill on this, I'll just keep it, and they'll just deal with it. instead of just doing a product change. And that way you can actually get a card that's more benefited for you and something that you can use, something that you can actually get more perks out of without changing much in your daily lifestyle. So that plays a major role. So in your opinion, Joe, do you feel like these changes with Chase Bank, do you feel like it's going to be worth that extra amount?
I think it is. Let me
Okay.
see if I could pull up for you guys just to give you an example of
Yeah.
what they're offering. You're going to get 8 times per dollar spent on Chase Travel, so through their portal for
Yeah.
hotels and car rentals, right?
8 times.
Eight
Wow.
times.
Yeah.
8 times for flights. It used to be 10. So some
Yeah.
people got upset. They're like, oh my God, they dropped it 2 points. But
Yeah.
here's the difference,
Yeah.
they're going to give you 4 times now if you do anything directly with an airline or a hotel.
Mm.
So that's huge. If you spent $1,000, now you're going to get 4,000 points at a hotel or airline. You're going to
Yeah.
get 3 times on dining. And where people are kind of upset is that they're dropping their travel credit from 3 times to 1 time. So, in other words, if you're paying
Mm.
tolls or whatever. And what
Yeah.
I tell them is this: if you're willing to pay $7.95 for a card, pay $95 for the ink version of their preferred card that gives you
Yeah.
3 times on travel and you're good to go. Or combine it as a hybrid setup with the Amex Green card, and now you get 3 times there on travel. So you're actually able to have two different ecosystems worth of points
Yeah.
that are the most powerful points. Amex membership rewards points and Chase's ultimate rewards are the best points out there. But
Yeah.
this is also what Chase is going to give you a $500 credit for what they're calling now their edit, which is like their hotel brands. So it's their
Yeah.
upscale hotel brand. And some people are like, well, it's too expensive, but nonetheless, you're going to get that. You're going to get a $300 dining credit at Chase Sapphire Reserve tables, a $300 StubHub credit. So if you do sports and you're going to get tickets, you're going to get a $300 credit for that,
Mm.
$300 for DoorDash, which is $25 a month, a
Yeah.
$120 DoorDash membership, and a $250 credit towards Apple TV and Apple Music, which I already pay for.
Mm.
So if they're going to
Wow.
pay
Yeah.
me for Apple, so
Just for
they got
having it.
right, they got that page out of Amex as well, where Amex
Yeah.
gives you their entertainment credit of
Yeah.
$240. So again, they took something that works and just labeled it with Chase. And that's what they're doing. So what
Yeah.
does this all mean? Sit down and prepare yourselves, guys, because Amex is going to increase their platinum fee. Don't be surprised to 800, 850.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. That's coming. That has to come.
Yeah.
They'll give you another benefit somewhere down the line, but who knows, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? These companies, they copy each other. Well, I won't say copy each other, but they look to see what other companies are doing to make adjustments because the same people that are getting that type of card is usually the same type of people that end up getting the Amex Platinum anyway. So most of these people are really much pretty much getting the same cards, over time. But that's why we wanted you to be here, Joe, to give us that information. We know you always keep your ear to the ground for all of these credit card changes that come. And it's already a busy 2025. And listen, guys, if you all want to get more information on, of course, different types of credit cards that Joe may have or just things that he's learning about, be sure to check out his YouTube channel. He talks about this stuff all the time. And then also, too, Joe, is there anything that you want to leave with the audience before we get out of here today?
For those of you that have Citibank, hot off the presses last night, I got an email. If you have the City Strata Premier, which is now their top card, it's $95 a year, but it's amazing 3 times on a lot of categories. Okay. Food shopping, dining out, gas, EV
Yeah.
charging, etc. Right.
Yeah.
You were able to cash out those points at 1 cent per point. So if you
Mm.
had, $1,000, you were able to get back, the at least 1 cent per point for that. They
Yeah.
dropped it to 0.75. So
Mm.
they cut off 25% that you're going to get as a cash back. And that takes effect August 25th, 2025, this summer. So you got a
Wow.
couple of months to get that together. And if you're going to take cash out, take it now while you get a 25% boost because they're going to do you in with 25% boost later on.
Wow. That's amazing, Joe. That's amazing for letting us know that as well. This is why we bring Joe in here. Listen, guys, put in the comment section if you want us to bring Joe back. You guys keep wanting us to do it. We're going to keep bringing him here so he can keep us posted about all of this stuff. And now we're about to go ahead and jump and bring Joe into our 850 Club Elite so he can answer a couple of credit card questions. Thanks again, Joe, for being here. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Calvin. I appreciate you, everyone. Take care.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video.